Those who had equipment stored in the lockers at Arkoma Lanes were combing through the debris today, looking for their belongings. Some were successful. Others weren't quite so lucky. Owner Betty Dunlap says she doesn't expect to rebuild after this morning's disaster. In fact, she and her husband had planned to sell the business and retire. Arkoma Lanes was a popular place in Siloam Springs. Some of the regulars here say they aren't quite sure what they'll do for recreation now that it's gone.
We bowled real regular out here.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to bowl tournament tonight, city tournament tonight at 7 o'clock.
For the grandchildren of the alley's owner, the 10-year-old building housed more than just another business.
Well, sort of like a home because we grew up here. They built it not about 2 or 3 years after we were born, and just we've grown up here.
State Fire Marshal Doug Fogley says copper wiring in a pin spotting machine may have sparked, starting the fire under the floor that supported the lanes. The spark could have ignited a residue of sawdust and lane oil that eventually grew into a full blaze. In Siloam Springs, Mike Thomas for the News People. With all of the pomp and circumstance generally reserved for commencement ceremonies, members of the class of 1986 put their undergraduate days behind them today. The University of Arkansas conferred more than 1,600 graduate and undergraduate degrees in this, the 112th commencement. The featured speaker, the Honorable Barbara Jordan, challenged the graduates with an address centering on what a college graduate would tell a newly arrived immigrant when asked, "What is America all about?" It's a topic the former Texas Congresswoman is quite familiar with, having gained national recognition as a member of the House Judiciary Committee that voted to impeach President Richard Nixon. Professor Jordan currently holds the Lyndon B. Johnson Centennial Chair in National Policy at the University of Texas. As a noted advocate of both civil rights and women's issues, Mrs. Jordan was honored today by receiving an honorary Doctor of Laws degree, the 26th honorary degree she has received. In Fayetteville, Mike Thomas for the News People. Residents in Bella Vista, Rocky Branch, Prairie Creek, and other unincorporated areas in Benton County say they're tired of seeing hunters roaming their streets in search of game. It happens all too often, they say, and they want it stopped. There are thousands of homes in these heavily wooded areas, and a shot that misses its intended target could easily find its way through someone's window. There is also a concern for the wildlife that is allegedly being poached. Bella Vista is typically regarded as a quiet, secluded retirement community. Many folks here have adopted the native wildlife as backyard pets. If there's one thing that seems out of place in such an ideal setting, it's gunfire.
You have them in here all the time, and the laws as it stands right now, there isn't very much you can do about it.
Jim Wright hopes to change that. He and his neighbors have collected nearly 2,000 signatures calling for an anti-shooting ordinance in these areas. Wright isn't opposed to hunting. He's an avid hunter himself. But he is opposed to hunting in residential neighborhoods and fearful of what that may lead to.
I'm not so much afraid of the hunters accidentally shooting somebody as I am some of these property owners getting angry with them, and first thing you know, they're going to be shooting each other. And that will happen.
The petitions will be given to the county's Government Operations Committee next week with a hope that the committee can draft an ordinance for the full quorum court to consider sometime in the next several weeks. In Bella Vista, Mike Thomas for the News People.
Just trying to get into Dogpatch U.S.A. is a quick indicator that it's unlike other amusement or theme parks. You have to take a tram down into the park, which is located in the middle of 500 Ozark Acres. This park is actually a self-contained city with its own water supply and sewage treatment plant. There are rides galore and, of course, games to play, and that you would expect to see. What makes Dogpatch different, though, is its characters like Nightmare Annie and Luke Scraggs from the Little Abner comic strip. That's the park's theme, and they spend a lot of time getting the right people for the right character.
We spend a lot of time going from state to state and auditioning in different states trying to find a person to fit that role. The hair, the body size, everything to fit that role, plus the character itself.
Luke Scraggs is one of your more obnoxious characters. He spends his time trying to attract girls.
Well, the name's Luke Scraggs. The pleasure's all yours, of course. And I am the most handsome and eligible bachelor here at Dogpatch. I'm just kind of watching my cabin up there because a lot of gals like to go in there and they leave their names and phone numbers and addresses, and then I gets back to them. We do a lot of lip smooching.
One of the more relaxing things about Dogpatch U.S.A. is this trout fishing farm. But I've been here for 3 hours and I'm telling you, there's no fish in this pond. Geez. Well, maybe one or two. There are a lot of other ways to relax at Dogpatch if you're not into the herky-jerky rides, like a train ride which will take you through some of the beautiful park scenery. Officials here stress that it is a family park and say they want to treat everyone here like a guest while they're at the park. Heck, they'll even let you keep your catch at the end of the day. Reporting back from another grueling day at work, I'm Brian Shipman for the News People at Dogpatch USA.
They're calling it the New Star in Northwest Arkansas. And mall management pulled out all the stops today to celebrate the completion of their $2.5 million renovation. A symphony orchestra, a parade of storybook characters and senior citizens, an official ribbon cutting, balloons and confetti, a gospel choir. These were just the start of a full week of activities at the mall. The mall has a new look, a new food court featuring 11 new restaurants and a large picnic area. And this morning they were all getting good reviews.
I think it's really neat. It's a great improvement.
I think it's beautiful. We're really enjoying it.
Enthusiasm, the crowd, the noise.
What do you think of all this? But this major facelift, 2 years in planning and 6 months in completion, is a business move. And today, former mall manager Don Duffy said the renovation will have major economic impact on the area.
In excess of 200 jobs for people here in the community have been created as a result of this.
The mall businesses and managers are hoping the improvements will convince shoppers to come here more often, to stay longer, and of course, to buy more. Local officials are hoping it works. If nothing else, bringing more customers and more money into mall businesses will mean more sales tax dollars for local government. In Fayetteville, this is Steve Voorhees reporting for the News People. Toy guns are a multi-million-dollar industry, one that's growing. Millions of these make-believe weapons are bought by or for young children every year. The most popular toy guns these days are the life-size replicas. They look realistic. In fact, critics say they're too realistic. But now one manufacturer is trying to make it easier to tell the toy from the real thing. This is a prototype for one of the Daisy Company's new toy Uzi machine guns. The barrel is colored fluorescent orange, the sides marked with a non-removable orange sticker. Anyone seeing the gun can tell it's a toy.
We think it's time for the entire industry to take a step back to get a fresh perspective on what they are selling and who the user actually is.
Reed says the markings won't stop a determined adult from using the toys to commit a crime, but that isn't the company's real concern.
We're talking about young kids, and our major concern is one of making sure that accidents don't happen.
The Daisy Company makes its line of air guns at its Rogers plant. The toy guns are made in several factories in the Orient. Company officials say the changeover to the safety-marked guns is underway and that the first models should reach stores in time for Christmas. In Rogers, this is Steve Voorhees reporting for the News People. In case you hadn't noticed, the Beatles are back. Not in the flesh, maybe, but thanks to the wonders of laser technology, their music lives again after, well, how long has it been anyway? At this record store in Fayetteville, clerks reported selling 10 of the CD recordings of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band this morning. Why are people paying twice the price for music that's 2 decades old?
I was 9 years old when this thing came out. I've kind of grown up with the whole mystique of Sgt. Pepper because that was probably the biggest thing that came out that I can remember.
Music store workers say the Beatles' comeback has something to do with good marketing, too.
Well publicized, people know about the release dates, and it's kind of renewed interest in the Beatles, kind of brought them back.
But there seems to be more to it than that. David Couch is a doctoral student. He doesn't have a disc player, but that didn't stop him from celebrating.
Well, actually, this is kind of a retread in a sense. The old one is worn completely out, and being the 20th anniversary, I guess, it was time to renew and get one that isn't scratched and worn.
More has been written and said about Sgt. Pepper's than any pop album ever, but the fact that people still want to hear it is probably the greatest tribute. In Fayetteville, this is Steve Voorhees reporting for the News People.
Officials of the Arkansas State Police, Crawford County Sheriff's Office, and the Van Buren Police Department confiscated the truck last night after receiving a report that a truck loaded with untaxed beer was moving into Arkansas from Oklahoma. The truck was loaded with 2,000 cases of Coors beer, which is not distributed in Arkansas, and it was on its way from Kingfisher, Oklahoma to Farmersdale, New Jersey. The beer spent the night outside the Crawford County Jail, and the driver was arrested and later released on $1,500 bond.
Right now, we have charged the driver of the vehicle with 3 misdemeanor charges. One, of course, is the possession of untaxed liquor, the beer being taxed in Oklahoma only. Also, over-possession, of course, in a dry county, Crawford County. And then, thirdly, a violation of a Arkansas Transportation Commission regulation, that being no authority. The driver of the vehicle was also employed by the lessor of the vehicle, and that is in violation of our Transportation Commission regulations.
This is kind of a unique situation. Has this ever been done before? Could it possibly develop into some type of test case?
I don't really think so. I think our law is very clear on it as to what other states or other counties might, the position they might take. Certainly I don't know, but I think our state laws are very clear. I think that these people are clearly in violation, and we certainly don't want to encourage, if this is going to be transported, we don't want them transporting it through our county. And as far as I can tell, it's a violation of the Arkansas statutes, and as long as it is, well, we're going to take the appropriate action when the situation arises.
There's an irony in the situation in that all of this beer, 2,000 cases worth approximately $15,000, may not do anybody any good. According to Arkansas statutes, the beer is to be turned over to the mayor in the municipality, the mayor of Van Buren, to be sold. However, Arkansas law forbids the sale of Coors beer in the state, and Crawford County, which is a dry county, forbids the sale of any kind of beer. So there may be no choice but to destroy the beer. I'm Bill Guffey reporting from Van Buren for the News People.